only two delegations are consistent. CLA and Warner.
It's don't say that.
Yeah.
Say that.
Warner can outvote you, by the way. If we ignore how voting works, yes. I'm a Warner supremacist.
Are we good on it?
Yep.
Thank you, Pookie.
You're welcome.
Take care.
It's my honor to call to session the 14th session of the 55th Senate. For all of those willing and able, if you can please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Now we'll be moving into our land acknowledgement.
Colorado State University acknowledges with respect that the land we are on today is the traditional and ancestral homelands of the Arapaho, Cheyenne, and Ute nations and peoples.
This was also a site of trade, gathering, and healing for numerous other Native nations.
We recognize the indigenous peoples as original stewards of this land and all the relatives within it.
As these words of acknowledgement are spoken and heard, the ties nations have to their traditional homelands are renewed and reaffirmed.
CSU is a land-grant institution, and we accept that our mission must encompass access to education and inclusion.
And significantly, that our founding came at a dire cost to Native nations and peoples whose land this university was built upon.
This acknowledgement is the education and inclusion we must practice in recognizing our institutional history, responsibility, and commitment.
Thank you. That will now be moving into the swearing in of new senators and associates. If you are a new senator or associate, if you could please join us in the front. Coolio, welcome back everyone. With that, we'll now be moving into beginning roll call. Speaker Reese. Present. Speaker Pro Tempore Lutz.
Present.
Parliamentarian Falvo.
Present.
Senator Jones.
Present.
Senator Eddington.
Present.
Associate Senator Price. Senator Bouchel. Officer Diggs.
Present.
Chair Monanti.
Present.
Senator Roberts. Associate Senator Welkin. Associate Senator Cure. Senator Johnson. Senator Pata Perez. Here. Senator Dusterberg. Here. Senator Jameson. Here. Senator Taylor.
Present.
Senator Grenier.
Present.
Senator McCorkle.
Present.
Senator Garnand,
Present.
Chair Quesada Stoner, Present. Senator Vega,
Present.
Senator Candelero,
Present.
Senator Leggett, Senator Flores, Chair McLaughlin,
Present.
Senator Hansen, Senator Bashinin,
Here.
Senator Grant, Senator Corey,
Here.
Senator Hajira, is that how you say it? Yes, here. Okay, cool, thank you. Senator Bowe. Here. Senator Mendoza. Excuse. Associate Senator Pratt. Here. Senator Hernandez.
Present.
Officer Jowden. Senator Frisky. Here. Senator Fayan. Chair Gray. Here. Associate Senator Sinanis. Here. Senator Jeffries. Here. Senator Pickrell. Chair Hill. Here. Associate Senator Vogel. Associate Senator Markle.
Here.
Chair Gilroy. Senator Trinado. Senator Singleton.
Present.
That's all I have. If you were ratified last week, you should have your placards on the filing cabinet in the back of the office. So, yeah, thank you. Okay, with that now we'll be moving into consent agenda. I first would like to entertain a motion to remove the ratification of BSOP as per request of the chair, Senator Taylor.
I motion to remove the ratification of BSOP.
Is there any dissent to this motion? Hearing none, that'll be reflected.
Additionally, I'm not done yet, Enoch, I've got a couple more. I motion to put the rotational interns into consent agenda.
Is there any dissent to this motion?
Dissent?
Your dissent can only be from a voting member. Also, are you looking for clarification? Okay, so essentially what that would do is just move the rotational interns from being their own agenda item into being in the consent agenda. So when we're like, yay agenda, we pass it, we also ratify all the people, if that makes sense.
Is it gonna go after?
I request that you use a mic, but essentially it just isn't on the agenda anymore. It's in consent agenda. Everyone gets passed. We don't have to do Q&A or discussion debate or anything like that.
When does it? Thank you.
Julio, is there any dissent to that motion? Hearing none, they'll all be moved into the consent agenda.
And finally, I motion to pull the elections timeline bill out of committees and put that into old business. The logic behind that is that the timeline is tight and that if we don't see that legislation today, then that will not be able to be seen and passed within the timeline needed for that legislation.
Is there any dissent to this motion? Hearing none, that'll also be reflected. Thank you. Is there any other dissent to this agenda?
Point of clarification. Did that include the ratification of the athletic partnerships intern, or just the rotational internships?
Just the rotational internships was the motion. Cool. With that, is there any other dissent to this agenda? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and move into gallery input. Does anyone from gallery at this time wish to speak?
This is showing an empty battery.
Point of information, do we need to approve the consent agenda and ratify the interns first?
As there was no dissent to the consent agenda, my understanding of how the consent agenda would function as per our bylaws, though we don't use this, so we can opinion request it up, is that once we approve the agenda, we've also approved the minutes.
Do they have to be sworn in right now?
Oh, that is a good point. I've never thought about that. One second. Could we do that at the beginning of competence business, as it's a swearing in ratification, or would we? That's an amazing question. Or we'll do it now and codify it later. For the rotational interns, if you want to join us in the front as well, it's the representative from GHO.
Stay here.
Alright, we don't have a microphone today, so if you guys could just kind of crowd around here.
Everyone scoot up. Like a whole big.
Just make a big circle around here. There you go. I state your name. Do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear
To defend and uphold.
to defend and uphold
The rules and regulations.
the rules and regulations
Set forth by the Constitution.
set forth by the Constitution
Of the Associated Students of Colorado State University.
of the Associated Students of Colorado State University,
And will rightfully perform.
and will regularly perform
The duties of my office.
the duties of my office
To the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Okay, with that, now we'll be moving into gallery input.
Howdy Senate, and everyone else, of course, naturally. My name is Claire Pickerel, I use she, they pronouns. I'm a senator for the Warner College of Natural Resources. And I want to talk about free speech. I do it all the time. You guys gotta be tired of me talking on it. The free speech policy, right, it's been rescinded, which is good, and that's how it should have been, and I'm pleased by that. And I think we all should be pleased by that, but I think one of the really important things that continues to persist as an issue is transparency, is clarity and communication between students, faculty, staff, and admin. We gotta work as a team. I've said it over and over. I am a broken record. We have to work as a team, right? This is CSU. We are all Rams, and we need to advocate for each other. Rams take care of Rams, right? That's my thesis. If that was everything, I'd have it master's by now, but still working on that. And so that is the request, right? We want that transparency, we want that communication, and right now, to me, personally, it feels as though our complaints fall on deaf ears consistently. People aren't listening to us, and there's hurt that has gone both ways, but a couple weeks ago, we passed a resolution, right? We asked for that transparency. And we asked for some specific things, and I'm going to read to you those things right now. I'm going to only read the third whereas clause, as it's the one that has the questions that we asked of administration, particularly Office of the President. Therefore, be it hereby further resolved to begin repairing misplaced institutional trust and demonstrate a genuine commitment to transparency. ASCSU respectfully requests the Office of the President release a detailed report to the public by November 17th, 2025, which provides evidence and explanation of an exhaustive list of specific factors motivations that prompted the creation of the revised policy. 2, the disregard for the standard policy editing process with such substantial and harmful revisions. 3, a complete timeline of the policy's revision process from inception to repeal. 4, the cause of the contradictory messaging regarding the policy's enforcement between August 14th and October 8th, 2025. 5, an explanation for the continued enforcement following the repeal of the 2025 policy on October 8th. I want to make it clear, I do not believe these questions have been answered yet. As one of the individuals who authored this bill, I do not believe that these questions have been answered yet. We have not received a timeline. We have not received any clarification on why people were told that this policy was not being enforced while under review and yet was enforced, not only on October 7th, but throughout. We continue to see chalking erased. We were told it was on a schedule. That chalking continues to be erased under the 2022 policy, under maintenance. That maintenance never took place under the 2022 policy prior to this. Who am I to say that this isn't enforcement? Who is anyone to say that that isn't enforcement of the 2025 policy? That is continued enforcement. It wasn't there before, and now it is, that maintenance. There's no policy. Show me the policy that allows you to do that. There is no policy. Administrators, time and time again, have said to me that they believe that this policy was inappropriate, it was put in place inappropriately, and contained censorious, draconian nonsense. There was a significant amount of pushback. I also want to make it clear that when it went through the review process, it was not sent to stakeholders. It was sent to 10 individuals, several of which were outspoken in its content. This was not socialized. It did not follow the standard policy process. And so, with that, I want you to continue to fight, to continue to hear this. And if anybody needs a copy of this resolution, I'm more than happy to provide it. I won't read them again, but if you think about them, I yield.
Thank you, Claire, and thank you to all of those who continue to show up and kind of speak on the good messages that ASCSU has provided thus far. I'll share with you the statement that I received in terms of what happened with the free speech policy and the continuance on just the issues that have arose. Aside from that, this letter was sent to me and then a few friends from our faculty council and then a few of our other shared governance chairs across campus. So if you would like to, please use this as a time to take notes on contents of the letter. I think that it was sent out earlier. And so if you would like to, you can follow along via what was sent out in Teams, maybe? Teams? No, email.
Everyone should have received an email as well as the authors and our constituency hub. So if you don't have it, feel free to ask your CRC directors, college council presidents, graduate student council presidents.
Awesome. All right, this was the letter. These, once again, are not my words. This is the letter. I'm just providing what was passed along to me. Thank you all for continuing to work with me and our team on gathering input on the various aspects of the free speech policy. There are many important voices and perspectives on the choices we make as a campus, and you each represent constituent groups that hold divergent yet deeply held views. To my mind, this is exactly where our system of shared governance shines, bringing forward the range of perspectives, surfacing pros and cons, and ensuring that our decisions reflect the collective wisdom of the CSU community. Thank you for your leadership in helping to navigate these important issues. Shared governance, academic freedom, and freedom of expression are bedrock principles of Colorado State University and of higher education itself. Our ability to engage in open debate, to challenge ideas, and to speak freely, even when the speech is uncomfortable or controversial, is essential to the pursuit of knowledge and to the culture and vibrancy of any public university. That said, we also recognize that free speech exists within a living community and that words, symbols, and messages, especially those that target or demean groups or individuals, can have a real and painful impact. Balancing these values is not easy, but it is vital to who we are as a university, a place that defends the right to speak while also striving to uphold respect, safety, and belonging for every member of our community. As a public university, CSU is both required by law to uphold the First Amendment, which we embrace, and is legally permitted to create free speech policies that contain content-neutral time, place, and manner parameters, which are governed by our own policies. Here at CSU, we have long permitted chalking on the plaza, so long as it can be washed away with periodic cleaning. That is what has traditionally been in our policy and is reflected in the policy that was reinstated on October 8th. Over the last couple years, we started to see an increase in graffiti and chalking in other parts of campus, and also messages that were aimed at personally attacking individuals or groups. We've heard from many students who are impacted by these messages, feeling unsafe or unwelcome, and from visiting families and prospective students who are surprised or disheartened by what they see. These are not easy concerns to dismiss, and I appreciate how challenging it is to hold space for both free expression and community well-being. Some universities have chosen to ban chalking altogether in response to similar challenges. We have not proposed that. Instead, last spring, our staff began exploring changes that would still allow chalking but limited to event-related information. These changes were reflected in the updated and now rescinded policy. Additionally, these provisions were analogous to provisions in the university's longstanding signs, posters, banners, and flyers policy. In addition, the employee speech provision was meant to address numerous questions the university received about when and how employees could engage in free speech as employees of a public university. Those questions, in turn, highlighted the lack of guidance for employees contained in our free speech policy. The employee speech provision expressly contained a carve-out for academic freedom and reflected long-standing U.S. Supreme Court precedent regarding speech by public employees, as well as state law and CSU system policies. The revision also contained a clarification around camping on campus. Although the free speech policy already contains night limitations from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m., we sought to clarify or enhance the policy further and explicitly state that camping was not permitted on campus without university approval. This change was made with an eye towards public safety after witnessing various safety issues related to encampments on other campuses. This set of changes proceeded through the normal fast-track process, which gathered input from student affairs, LSC, and facilities. Looking back, I recognize that when the revisions eventually came, as President Parsons for reference, looking back, I recognize that when the revisions eventually came to me for signature, I should have double-checked all of the constituent groups had opportunity to review the new language. I do not believe anyone involved had ill intent. Everyone acted in good faith and with the best interest of our students and employees at heart. Still, the process could have been better. We have since tightened up our review steps to ensure ample opportunities for feedback before any future revisions advance. When we began hearing concerns from students and faculty about the new provisions, we moved quickly to meet, gather feedback, and ultimately rescind the revisions, reinstating the previous version of the policy to allow time for fuller discussion and shared governance review, which is happening now. Today, only the original policy remains in effect. I see this not as a setback, but as an example of shared governance working as intended, catching issues early, engaging diverse voices, and improving our collective process.
Chair Hill.
Motion to extend the speakers by like 3-4 minutes. 4 minutes. Okay. 5 minutes even. I don't know. What about indefinitely?
Just 5.
Can I do that?
No. Let's go with 3. I think I heard the number 3. Julia, is there any dissent to extending the speaker's time by 3 minutes? Hearing them, Jake, I hate you, continue.
I also understand that there were a few unfortunate interactions on the plaza between university employees who were trying to enforce the updated policy and some students. I am sorry for the confusion and distress those moments caused. Having been part of this community for nearly 3 decades, I know that we are at our best when we assume good intent, extend grace, and move forward together. Personal attacks and assumptions of bad faith are not reflective of who we are as Rams. They don't strengthen our dialogue or our community. In that spirit, my request to the councils is to take time this semester to review the current free speech and peaceful assembly policy and provide advice on whether we, as a community, should explore revisions regarding chalking our employee speech. The Office of General Counsel has already scheduled informational sessions to help inform this work. While there is no fixed deadline, I would appreciate hearing from each of you by the end of semester, so that if revisions are recommended, we can begin that work early in the spring semester. I'll schedule meetings with each of you the week of December 15th to check on your progress and gather your recommendations. Should we decide to move forward, our shared goal will be to strengthen the free speech and peaceful assembly policy to ensure that it upholds the First Amendment, protects academic freedom, reflects our commitment to shared governance, and fosters a campus climate of respect, inclusion, and intellectual vitality. Thank you, as always, for your partnership and for all that you do to sustain the spirit of this remarkable university. With gratitude, Amy. Thank you all, and I also extend my office hours or any time that I am in ASCSU to discuss these things. Feel free to loop me into conversations or generally anything that you would like to discuss as it relates to this. Thank you all for your time tonight, and I look forward to passing the floor over.
I feel like this is actually a good segue because I also was going to talk about that. I have three main critiques of the letter that she sent out to us. Firstly, the letter failed to take any sort of accountability from herself and administration. Whenever it came to her actual language, she tried claiming herself as a victim, basically saying the policy came to her for signature, and she overlooked checking in to see with different constituents to see if we had seen it. I would be blunt and say I think this was a lie, seeing as this administration has done other changes without checking with constituents. I believe this was a further attempt in quietly changing policies to further your own bootlicking. You pivoted to talk about how other universities have banned chalking altogether, and it felt basically like dangling the worst option in front of us before immediately then going to the less worse option. Secondly, this letter did not address any sort of critiques related to shared governance and transparency. You said, quote, shared governance, academic freedom, and freedom of expression are bedrock principles at Colorado State University. So why are those exact things you've been spitting on since Trump took office? You also described the complete and utter lack of shared governance as, quote, catching issues early. Was it an issue before we began fighting against this policy? Why thank us for our partnership when you directly ignore us, along with the entire student body? Along with that, your way to move forward was scheduling meetings for students during finals week. Lastly, the reasoning behind the policy appears to be that less restricted free speech is, the more people in minority groups will be attacked, which is a very interesting take, to say the very least. Kind of a like barrier-based type approach with it. But let me ask, in any time when a group has been persecuted, did it stop hate crimes against that group? Did the ban on homosexuality in America make homophobia disappear? I'm not trying to be purposefully obtuse, but the moral is all over the place. You said, quote, words, symbols, and messages, especially those that target and demean groups of individuals, can have a real and painful impact. So why do you never reach out to those students who are victims of hate crimes on campus? Why do you actively engage in hurtful policies that hurt those already? You mentioned how increase in graffiti and messages that were aimed at personally attacking individuals or groups was part of why the policy was changed. Something I saw chalked on the plaza today was fight for a woman's right, not for the men in her sport. Why was that allowed to remain on the plaza without being erased by periodic cleaning, but saying genocide is bad is unacceptable? Since Trump became king, president, extremists have been emboldened to commit more horrible acts of violence against queer people and other minority groups, and at CSU it is no exception. While Fort Collins has been somewhat of a safe space for me to explore my gender and sexuality since I moved here from Oklahoma, I am also not able to say with full certainty that I'm not in danger here or I have not been harmed here. When I went to Aggie Theater, I had someone grab my arm and physically throw me out of the men's bathroom, saying I don't belong there, and when I went to the staff about it, they refused to help me. When I went to Bondi, I was thrown out, and when I asked why, all I got back was "Go home, Queen." When I was told by my coworker who worked as an RA with me that I had a demon in me and compared me to a rapist, no one within housing was willing to help me, and instead they moved him to one of the gender-inclusive housing communities where he now has a private bathroom. All of these happen without the use of chalk. Acts of violence and bigotry will happen regardless if you want them to or not. I wish that helping out minoritized communities was simple as posting an Instagram story of you appearing at an event before leaving. If you think serving a couple of rainbow pancakes at Pancakes for Pride makes you an ally, then it kind of appears like the Kendall Jenner curing racism with Pepsi. Along with that, you have said and heard from, quote, visiting families and prospective students who are surprised and disheartened by what they see chalked on the plaza. As an actual campus tour guide, I have had so many people tell me that the reason they ended up choosing Colorado State University was because of the community here, because they felt safe on campus, because they liked how much we value social justice as a principle of community. If prospective students are disheartened by when they see student activism, then this is not the school for them. If you are getting paid over $650,000 a year, it is in your capacity to give us a better reasoning than this. We are the ones needing to live and work with your policies, so let us have a say in what happens in a fair and democratic way. You said we are at our best when we move forward together. I challenge you, Amy Parsons, to act on your own words. Move forward together and with all of your students.
Hi all, today I have two things that I want to share. First, I want to remember the lives of the 5 individuals who lost their lives to hate and violence 3 years ago today at Club Q, an LGBTQ+ nightclub in Colorado Springs. 5 individuals were shot and killed. Remember the names of Derek Rump, 38 years old, Daniel Davis Aston, 28 years old, Kelly Levin, 40 years old, Ashley Paul, 35 years old, and Raymond Green Vance, 22 years old. An additional 17 individuals were shot and wounded. Gun violence has and continues to plague this country. I highly urge each and every one of you to consider the ways in which you can contribute to ending gun violence, whether that be connecting with your elected officials, local organizing, or creating action plans to understand the roles guns play in our everyday lives. From understanding safe storage to finding escape routes, ensure that you are prepared. This is not to scare you or anything of the sorts, but rather ensure that we understand the reality of the world which we live in. If working to prevent gun violence in America is something that interests you, I highly recommend researching the nonprofit Everytown for Gun Sense in America and their affiliate nonprofits Moms Demand Action and Students Demand Action. I personally volunteered with this organization for multiple years back when I was in Texas, and I've seen the tremendous work that they have completed across the nation, including here in chapters in Denver. And then secondly, I'd like to draw attention to yesterday's announcement of the federal administration's attempt to dismantle parts of the education department. Essentially, the administration seeks to reorganize elements of the department and outsource 6 offices to other agencies. And in a press conference, the U.S. Secretary of Education, Linda McMahon, stated that cutting through layers of red tape in Washington is one essential piece of our final mission, which is mildly concerning to say the least. In America, we have, or at least on paper, a democracy. And democracy has the Greek roots of demos, meaning peoples, and kratos, meaning power, meaning rule by the people. Democracy means nothing for the people without the people. Keep your eyes open and do something. Read the news, listen to that podcast, take a breath, and then act. That's all.
Howdy y'all, I just wanted to clarify a bit on the free speech letter. Specifically that it wasn't sent to me, it wasn't sent to y'all, it was sent to Jakai, and with that, with you now having it, you have the ability to bring it to your constituencies. You have the ability to talk about it in your college council, in your CRCs, in your classes. You have the resource to be able to build coalition on this. But additionally, the promises to meet were not promised to you or I. They were promised to our shared governance chair, Jakai. And in order to best streamline all of the voices of all of the constituencies in this room, we have to talk to one another. We have to have channels to utilize our infrastructure to best be able to support the student voice. So with that, reach out to your constituencies, reach out to me, reach out to Jakai, reach out to the authors, reach out to each other. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Oh, God. Which one? Okay. The one that is worn because most people touch it. Okay, great. These mics always scare me. I'm sorry, consistently.
I'll never get used to it. But anyway, hi everyone. My name is Amber Wright. I'm a fourth year studying political science and legal studies here at CSU. And so I wanted to thank all of our previous speakers for continuing to speak about the state of free speech on campus, as well as for all of our students, particularly now our trans students. So thank you to all of our speakers. I also wanted to speak more on free speech right now. I wanted to say, starting off, that not only is parts of the email inaccurate, but some of it is just an outright lie as far as how this policy came about. President Parsons herself, at the faculty council meeting on October 7th, said that she had not been aware that the policy had been fast-tracked, that she should have been aware, she apologized for it, and she said that when she realized that it was fast-tracked, she pulled it into the regular review process, which on that day, on October 7th, prompted myself and other faculty members to ask, if it was under review, why was it enforced that day? So that was something that she said at faculty council. The minutes are publicly available. I have it on recording myself, where she said that it had been fast-tracked and then she pulled it into the regular review process. That same language is not reflected in this email that was sent to Jakai, among other governance leaders. So I'm concerned that what she has been saying is not consistent. Further, I don't think that the Office of the President, herself, her Chief of Staff, and others are taking this issue seriously enough. They still fail to see why we continue to talk about it. I think they expected us to give it up a little bit by now. Because, as we know, the resolution called for a public statement and gave very clear and specific demands that I believe are rather reasonable. And instead we got an informal email response that did not meet all of these demands. That's unacceptable. Our students deserve better. We deserve better from our leaders. We do need a public statement, and we do need better communication from the Office of the President. It's simply not negotiable. And then in the email, it's also clear that they didn't move quickly to address these issues. I mean, the policy went into effect on August 14th, supposedly, and it took a boiling point on October 7th for them to actually do a damn thing about it. They said that they met, gathered feedback, and ultimately rescinded. That's not how it happened, actually. Faculty council happened on the evening of October 7th, and then that night, President Parsons realized how bad this looked for them, infringing on our right to free speech as guaranteed by the First Amendment. And so and this is something that she told me the next day at Board of Governors, she said to me, yes, I told Office of General Counsel to pull the policy. So it was actually just a quick email for her to go back to the 2022 policy. So no, they did not meet, gather feedback, and then decide to ultimately rescind, as she says in the email. No, she made the decision that night, after all of the harm done on the plaza to our students, and after we made a scene about it, and after we talked about it at faculty council, after she blundered it and lied about what happened. She also says that the 2022 one is what the policy is being enforced, and yet as I come here and speak to you weekly, we all should know in this room that chalking continues to be power washed at the discretion of whoever has the hose that day. And they call it regular maintenance. It's censorship dressed up as regular campus cleaning. This used to never happen. And no, they did not catch the issue early. If they caught the issue early, they wouldn't have put this policy in the first place. They wouldn't have started revisions like this in 2024. They did not catch the issue early. They caused the issue. They caused the issue. And so President Parsons is a lawyer. She worked for many years in the Office of General Counsel here at CSU. She has said that she has enjoyed studying free speech law. She does not get to claim ignorance on any of this, any of it. At best, she was terribly misinformed. That's not what the president should be doing, especially in these political times, and especially about something as fundamental as our right to free speech. That is completely unacceptable. So at best, she was misinformed, and at worst, she was acting in a way that endangered our entire campus community. And that is unacceptable. So my questions to the admin is, why are you taking this top-down approach? Why are you imposing these policies that you think might help, that's what they say, without actually consulting anyone who will actually be impacted by it? That's not shared governance. And further, why are we now changing our language on revisions? On October 9th, Amy Parsons told me directly, yes, we still intend to revise the policy, but not this semester, I have bigger fish to fry. Those are the exact words that she said to me on October 9th. But now in this email it says, we are consulting about whether we should revise. So you see just inconsistency in language. Part of that is because our pressure is working, but I just wanted to point out the inconsistencies here. So anyways, that's what I had to say about the email. I might have to extend my time, looks like right about now. I get used to the shuffle of like the placards.
Chairman Lindsay.
Motion to extend the speaker's time by 5 minutes.
Point of clarification, if I may.
Yes.
There's only about 2 minutes and 50 seconds left of the total half hour dedicated to gallery input.
I will be making
I'll make it fast.
Oh,
Sorry.
I will be making 2 motions then. The first motion is to extend gallery input by 10 minutes.
Is there any dissent to this motion? Hearing dissent, we'll go ahead and do a voice vote. I'd probably the 10 if anything. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay.
Nay.
That was definitely the aye. The ayes have it. With that, there will be a 10-minute extension to gallery input. Chairman, on to your motion.
And my second motion is to extend the speaker's time by 5 minutes.
Is there any dissent to this motion? Hearing none, yay, Andrew.
Thanks, y'all. Sorry, appreciate it. I'll make it fast. And then I wanted to share some good news. The Mass Student Assembly today out on the plaza was quite the success, to be honest with you. The event went very, Yeah, it was great. It was well organized by our coalition, the United Front, which is a coalition of student orgs. It's the People United, the Students for Justice in Palestine, Young Democratic Socialists of America, Students for Economic and Social Liberation, and the Young Dems of CSU. So these 5 orgs together coordinated the Mass Student Assembly today out in the plaza. We had various speakers, we had testimonials from students, we read out parts of the 2025 policy, and then we finished with a Q&A with students. And I just want to say everything went very well. We had plenty of engagement from students. I think we probably had about at least 100 at certain points. And then we also had a lot of faculty show up, and we also had several administrators come to listen. So I wanted to particularly thank Jody Donovan, Blanche Hughes, and Sue James. They are the administrators that I know did come. If there were this isn't an exhaustive list, this is just who I saw. Others told me that they would have come, but their schedule did not allow. So anyways, I did want to thank our administrators who did come and listen to student voices, because that is what we asked. And so to the ones who did show up, I am very grateful to them, and I am grateful that they are listening to us and our concerns. So with that, the Student Assembly went very well. I hope you all take a chance to go out to the plaza and check out some of the chalk. Many students stayed for hours after the fact and put down some beautiful art and messages. And with that, I wanted to emphasize that chalking is not graffiti. Chalking is not something dirty. Chalking is not something unclean that has to be removed from campus. Also as an admissions ambassador, I know plenty of parents and students who are so excited to see chalking. They view it as beautiful. They view it as something that students can use to express themselves. I've had students say they cannot wait to come here until they can also chalk. So that is actually something that is a benefit to our community. It is a tradition that we have always loved and cherished here up until recently. So again, it's not something to be erased. It's not something to be managed. It's not something to be washed away as if it's dirt. But with that, final call to action, December 3rd is when we will actually be marching to administration to deliver our student loyalty compact, which was drafted up with YDSA among other orgs. So just keep that date in your mind. December 3rd is when we will next be mobilizing, similar to today, but we will go into admin, delivering our student loyalty compact and pressuring administration to pledge their loyalty to students. So anyway, that's my good news for the day, and thank you all to anyone who attended, anyone who helped, and see you next time. Free Palestine.
Hi everybody, I'm Bryson. I'm the senator for Adult Learners and Veterans Services. I just kind of wanted to talk a little bit about the email. I guess that's what we're all talking about right now. I kind of take a problem with calling this a shared governance when I haven't seen Amy Parsons in here once. When was the last time you personally, as a senator, talked to Amy Parsons? When was the last time she came to a committee meeting? When was the last time she came to anything for our part of the governance? It's not a shared governance if there's not half of the sharing going on. I think that's kind of all I wanted to say, but yeah.
Okay, does anyone else from gallery wish to speak at this time? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and move into our guest speaker, the Director of Basic Needs. If you could join us. Shout out, Lauren.
Hold on. Give me a
Big day, guys. Thank you all for being here.
Is,
I have the presentation.
is there like a handheld mic or is it just this?
That's everybody.
Okay, I had to point. No, you're good.
Yeah. Oh, and also just point anything you want to switch slides.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, cool. Yeah, okay. Hi everybody, my name is Lauren. I am the Director of Basic Needs in ASCSU this year, and I am coming to you all with a very, very broad overview of the basic needs resources available at CSU and a few statistics, because I think that it's all important that you as senators understand the statistics and the resources available so you can then send that out to your respective constituencies, inform your neighbors, inform your friends, inform your people, because access and knowledge is the first point of contact. So, I'm gonna go very, very briefly over some campus resources. Ramsey Hunger Food Pantry located in the General Services Building. If you guys go all the way down that way, just past the Oval and take a right next to the Student Services Building, walk a little bit, it's right there. It's hidden, not too hidden, but hidden enough. And that is a free pantry for all students and faculty at CSU utilize. They have their hours published on the website. If you look up just Ramsey Hunger Food Pantry, their hours are there. Anyone can use it. It's also specifically made to be dignity affirming, which is part of why it's hidden. We know that a lot of students don't use things because of any social or societal bias around it, so that's part of the reasoning why it's like that. Similarly, we also have pocket pantries. If you look, Bella, will you point to that little room for me? Thank you. Everyone look at Bella, look where she's pointing. That's one pocket pantry. There's many around campus. And I have a sheet, and they just updated it too, but I have a sheet of all of the available ones, so if you guys ever want to see it, let me know. There's another one in the LSC kind of near where the Pride Resource Center and El Centro is in that kitchen. There's one. There's one in the Health Network. There's one, obviously I can't remember now, but there's a bunch. Look out for them. Number two, Off-Campus Life. Off-Campus Life offers a lot of resources centered around housing for students. They have the rental search. So they have what's called the Good Neighbor program. They partner with certain apartment buildings on campus and off campus around, and they allow those apartments to advertise to students. And with that, they get first come, first serve. A lot of students apply, but that also means that Off-Campus Life has really good connections with them. And so if you're looking for places to live, I would definitely recommend looking at their rental search. They also have pricing listed on there, so if you need more affordable housing, you can filter by price. They also do Ramride, so if you guys go out Friday or Saturday night, download the Ramride app. It's basically like Uber for students, and it's driven by fellow students. So I drove for Ramride once, it's super duper fun, and if you're part of an RSO, you can get money for it. Party registration, city codes, if you need to know city ordinances, if you need to know codes, if you need to register a party so you can avoid fines, do that. If you're gonna have a party, that's super chill, register it with the city and then you don't get fined. Or if you do, it's less. Student Case Management has a specific SNAP for RAMS program, so they have a student case manager who helps students apply and see if they're eligible and then apply to SNAP benefits, and I'll be talking about SNAP later. They also have intervening crisis situations and have a student bereavement policy. So if you're going through a grieving process, you can go through case management. They'll help you with your classes and making sure that that's being put out there. Health Network, it's free mental health counseling. It's actually up to 8 sessions this year. It used to be 6, now it's 8, which is awesome. And they also have physical health, pharmacy. The Kendall Reagan Nutrition Center is also located in there. And then they do health education prevention services, so a lot of outreach, and with that they do free STD testing. I'll be talking about this more, but if you are on state-sponsored insurance, i.e. Medicaid, you can access the majority of the things offered at the Health Network. There's like 2 or 3 that you can't, but I'll talk about that more. Part 2. SLICE is Registered Student Organization, and so they have a lot that are very specific to physical and mental health. Active Minds and Body Project are both really big ones. Same with Overdose and CSU RAM Recovery and Cruise. All of those are outreach, like education, prevention, all of that kind of stuff. And then they also have a lot of RSOs centered specifically around diversity in various fields. So whatever major you're a part of, you probably have one centered on like diversity in that specific major or interest. Cultural resource centers, all of those are located here in the LSC. There's technically the ALBS and the SUC don't
count, but like they're still looped in, you know, they're just not like named that. But all of those are open for all students to utilize. For clothing, there's not a lot of options here at CSU. We're working on it, we're trying to get more. Also, if any of you want to talk about it, let me know. But the Safe Center has a clothing closet located in their Student Services building, which is just by the Oval. So if you ever need clothing and you can't afford it, you can go there, stop at the front desk, they'll help you out. Similarly, the Pride Resource Center has the Lavender Cabinet, which is gender-affirming garments for students, as well as some other basic needs resources. That's just in the Pride Resource Center down the hall. And then various off-campus resources as well. So there's a couple of markets that are pay what you can or super low price for students who don't necessarily want to utilize the food pantry or can't get there during hours but still need to shop at a lower price. Look at those. Foco Cafe is cool. It's like a restaurant. Instead of paying, or like you can pay, it's donations, but also you can work there for like a shift and help out and then pay for your meal that way, which is nice. Food Bank Larimer County, Crossroads Safe House is specifically for people who are experiencing situations of domestic violence and need emergency shelter, but the Loveland Resource Center and overnight shelter is for other circumstances if you need overnight. The bus system is free in Fort Collins. If you're a student, you can utilize the Horn. I love the Horn. It'll take you all the way down to the tennis courts and all the way up to Moby. And also the MAX system is free and will take you everywhere. Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about statistics. So this is based on the 2023 Hope Center survey, which is sent out every other year to students there. Thank you. They're working on creating a statewide basic needs survey for Colorado specifically, but the most recent polling data we have is this one from 2023. Oh, is that the first one?
It's the one on top.
Okay, yes. So according to that data, at CSU, 65% of students experience some form of basic needs insecurity. This includes food, housing, homelessness, etc., which is the majority of our population. If you go down, on the left is food insecurity. So 45% of students experience food insecurity. 53% of students experience housing insecurity. And then what you see here is that means that because 65% of students experience some, but the polling data has 43 and then 53, that means there's an overlap. And that's what this really big slice is the overlap. It's that students who experience both food and housing insecurity. And so the reason that is because most of the time when a student has to make a choice between food and housing, i.e. if they either have to pay rent or pay groceries, they do not make enough to do both, they will pick rent every single time. Because if you cannot afford to pay your rent, you cannot afford to live somewhere. And so people choose housing over food the majority of the time, which is why we have these resources around food insecurity and why we see numbers at the pantry such as this. But typically within that gap, students are making that choice. Yeah. Here's a few more statistics. So use of public benefits at CSU, 54% of students don't use any, but 17% use food insecurity, so that includes pantry, pocket pantries, etc. Direct financials, another 17%, and then 20% use healthcare. I could not tell you specifically what it was. I would attribute it to the health network, but I could very much be wrong. 8% use transportation, so that's the bus system. Yeah, and some more. And then, oh yeah, this is barriers to the use. So 70% of students find that the biggest barrier to basic needs resources at CSU is just awareness. Hence why I'm talking to you, and hence why I need you guys to bring this information to your constituencies, because when people aren't aware, they can't use the resources we provide. The other ones are scarcity concerns or availability, so just not being able to get there on time, it's not available. But the majority, the overwhelming majority is awareness. So that's why knowledge and spreading information is so important. Okay, let's talk about the government, because it's a lot. I also didn't know what was happening when I wrote it. So SNAP benefits, essentially SNAP stands for Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. And a quick bit of history, because this does come into play later, is the first food stamp program was created in 1939 as part of the official food stamp pilot program. And then in 1961 to 64, they created the Food Stamp Act, a bunch of changes and clarifications on that pilot program, and really just broadcasting and making the Food Stamp Act bigger. This also had eligibility requirements varied by state. And then in the 1970s, they changed those eligibility requirements to a national uniform standard, so it didn't vary by state as much anymore, and then also allotting the available benefits to students to be equivalent to a nutritionally adequate diet. And then in 1977, they passed the Food and Agriculture Act, which placed a lot of restrictions on eligibility. If you guys don't know, the government goes back and forth all the time, and like things get overturned and then re-overturned, and then it fluctuates. So this is kind of a lot of that is what's happening, is a lot of fluctuations. So restrictions, eligibility, and then with the Hunger Prevention Act in 1988, some of that changed. And then in the early 2000s, they had the development of EBT, which is electronic benefit transfer. So that's a card that you can use to utilize your SNAP benefits. Just makes it easier to like purchase stuff. And then in 2008, they created the Farm Bill, which if you guys have not read the Farm Bill, you should. It's really cool. It has a lot in it, but generally it increased access and state commitment by a lot. And also created the name SNAP, so it wasn't called SNAP before, it was like the food stamp program. And then they did a new farm bill by Obama in 2014, which excluded certain things. So you can't purchase drugs or alcohol on it, a large amount of cans for the utilization of donating those cans to get money, that's not allowed anymore, and then more quality control over the benefits given and received. 2025, the Trump administration passed the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, which changed a lot about SNAP, and this is also part of the reason I'm talking to you today, is because this is where a lot of the confusion lies with students and with generally the American public. So, actually, could you go back for a second? One of the acts in the 60s and 70s, it also established the Thrifty Food Plan, which is basically, I can go down, and that's on there, is the budget for purchasing to be equivalent to an nutritionally adequate diet. So the food plan is developed by the USDA, and what they say is basically, this is like the things that you need and the amount of money that you need to have a adequate diet to be able to function, you know? The plan revised it, and so in the future, we cannot revisit that. We can't say this is a new addition to the Thrifty Food Plan. What's in place is what's free, is what's there. There's no changes. And you can't account for inflation in that. So now it's like the price set is the price given. And then also it limited some of the allotments for households and like the percentages per member of the household. So like if you live in a household of 4, you're gonna get more money given to you on SNAP than if you're in a household of 1 because of the amount of people that you're feeding. Excuse me. It also modified work requirements for able-bodied individuals, so the upper age exception, so like people who don't have to work, is now at 65 years old. If you are caring for a dependent child, it used to be anyone under 18, now it's anyone under 14. And then exceptions for veterans, homeless individuals, and individuals 24 or younger who age out of foster care can no longer be labeled as an exception within these. So like they still have to meet other requirements as well. It also amended the heat and cooling utility allowances to only households with elderly disabled members. So a lot of these certain allowances were like extra money that you pay when you're living, and a lot of these were like removed or taken away or significantly decreased, or like more restrictions were put in place. And this is just so that you can get like more money for SNAP because you're paying for more different bills, and it's just like not really coming for them, or whatever. Because I can't have an opinion. Sorry. So it also prohibits internet costs on allowable shelter for excess shelter deductions. So you can no longer use internet as a deduction cost. Establishes quality control incentive by state matching payments if their error rate is of a certain percent. So the state error rate is when they accidentally allot more money to a family or household or an individual for SNAP than they actually need. So if the state error rate is too high, they then have to match certain payments. So I think it's like, if it's 6% or lower, the federal government will just cover it. If it's between 8 and 11 or something like that, they have to pay a certain amount. And as it increases the error rate, the more that state has to match that payment. So it just made it a little bit harder for them to have error rates. Also reduces state agency payments to state. I don't know what I wrote. Sorry, ending required funding of SNAP education programs. So a lot of the parts that were in the original bills in the 60s and 70s and 80s, and also in the Farm Bill, were education components within SNAP. So going to schools, teaching students about nutrition diets, obesity plans, all of that kind of stuff. They got rid of all of those. And then restricting certain immigrant groups who were previously eligible for SNAP. Similarly, it also had a lot of effects on Medicaid, so I wanted to talk to you about that as well because I know a lot of students are on state-sponsored healthcare. So it changed the processes to obtain enrollee address information. So a big portion of the bill itself was that certain individuals who were no longer alive were still getting Medicaid. And they went through that and made a lot of clarifications. So a few of these are just general clarifications of that. So that's like the address, getting the address of anyone who's enrolled, all that kind of stuff. Also increased that to 6 months instead of every year. So people are redetermining their eligibility every 6 months instead of a longer time period. Quarterly screening to verify people's status. The home equity limit to $1 million nationwide, regardless of inflation. So if you like own a home and have that much equity, you can no longer get Medicaid, and that's nationwide rather than state by state. The amount of immigrant groups who qualify for Medicaid also reduced similarly to SNAP. It also limited retroactive coverage to 1 month prior to application for individuals enrolled in ACA Medicaid expansion groups. So retroactive coverage is if you, sorry, I got really lost. If you apply for Medicaid and you need them to cover something that you had had like a month prior, they can still do that, but now it's only 1 month. And if that's individuals under the expansion group, which is people who make up to 138% of the federal poverty line, and also they don't have to be part of like a protected class. The other group is 2 months prior, and that's people who make less than, I wanna say 30%, and then also are like part of protected class. And then establishing states to implement 80-hour community engagement requirements for anyone applying to Medicaid. So that includes things like working, community service, being in school, being in a school program, or a combination of any of those. So I know that was a lot of information. Sorry about that, but this does all pertain to you. So if you are a student, this is the eligibility that you have for SNAP. So most students, generally speaking, meet those income guidelines. It's $2,160 per month as a monthly income to qualify as a baseline. So if you make less than that, that's a good baseline. You also have to have at least one exemption as a student. And so those include people who are physically or mentally unfit. You're working 20 hours or more per week, which I know is a lot of you. You participate in work study. So if you go through financial aid and you have work study, you're still eligible. If you care for a child under age 6, if you receive something for assistance for needy families, those are all of the exemptions. So if you qualify for one of those and you meet the income threshold, you then qualify for SNAP, unless you are undocumented, you're on strike, or you have certain drug-related felony charges. Sorry. Same thing with Medicaid. So if you go to the health network, these are the things that they allow you to access if you have Medicaid. It's quite a bit. And if you all want to take a picture of this so you have it, I'll like leave that up. I won't read it all. It's also, all of this is on the weekly email. Okay. And that's everything, but I'm gonna open the floor to questions for a little bit, and also this is my contact at the top, this is my deputy, and then this is Claire, she's a housing caucus chair, she knows a lot about housing and basic needs generally, also a very good resource for you to reach out to. But are there any questions?
For us, though, we're senators and we are like responsible employees, but we're like not getting paid. Do our hours that we do for this position to an extent count for SNAP? Do you know?
I'm gonna say no. I can have someone fact check for me. I would ask anyone else also, but I think technically this is a volunteer position, or it qualifies as a volunteer position. And so it's a weird gap between you are responsible employees and you're volunteering your time and you're not being paid. So no.
Please use the mic.
I was gonna ask if you could share about your tabling event tomorrow so people know about it.
I have exec reports next.
Oh, okay.
Don't worry, guys. Anything else? Okay, if any of you ever have any questions or ponderings or ideas, or you just want to talk about basic needs or not basic needs, feel free to email me, text me, Teams me, find me in the office, any and all of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Davis. With that, we'll now be moving into executive report. Oh my gosh, you're already there, that's crazy. If the rest of our friends from exec want to join us.
You guys get to hear me talk more, yay, I'll keep it short. I've not been able to deliver executive reports in a long time, so I do have a pretty exhaustive list of everything coming and going. The first one and the biggest one is tomorrow from 10 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. Yay! We will be distributing Thanksgiving meal kits. This is the flyer. I will send this. This is in the Teams actually, so you all have access to this. There's a sign up genius if you want to help table in between 10 and 2:30. That would be great. If not, that's fine. The biggest thing that I need from you all is to send this to people. This is for people who are not able to go home for the break but also cannot afford to cook themselves a meal or have that, just so they can still experience the joy of the holiday. So we have 150 meal kits. Each one has mac and cheese, green beans, canned cranberry sauce, and instant mashed potatoes, as well as a bunch of coupons in there, so like grocery store stuff, and then some on-campus resources. So please, please, please spread this to your constituents. If there's anything you take away from this today, it's this one, and be out on the plaza tomorrow and tell people to come get them, because we have 150 and I want them to all go. The next thing is rain ban harm reduction. So I am doing a trial run tomorrow, so I will be out there with Felicity and Joseph, and if any of you are interested, you're also welcome to come, just one or two, with 50 kits of drinks, types, bike test strips, and cup covers. This is just to gather, this is like a test run. I've done this before last year, but I want to kind of see what the vibe is this year, where people are at, when the good time is to go, how fast it goes, all of that data collection. So if you're interested in tabling, it'll be from 9:30 to 10 or 10:30 at night at Old Town Square. Feel free to Teams me if you're interested, just so I know that you're there. And I'll be doing this more throughout the year as well, so more opportunities will come up. I put this in the Teams a while ago, but the Basic Needs Summit, I'm beginning planning. I started reaching out to students from other colleges as well as other organizations on campus. So Case Management and Pantry both have people who are interested in helping plan. But if any of you have a big passion about basic needs and really want to help plan a summit that brings together colleges across Colorado to talk about it, to collaborate and share ideas and share opinions, please let me know as soon as possible, so that I can get you on that email chain as well. And then, yeah, if you have any questions about the presentation later, feel free to reach out. I do have a few bills coming to the floor next session, so be on the lookout. And if any of you want to look at a bill related to basic needs and the Ramsden's Hunger Pantry, let me know and I'll send it to you over the break. And then the housing fair, Off-Campus Life does a housing fair. They're doing 5 sessions this year. 2 of them are for general, and then 3 of them are for specific groups, so international students, transfer students, and commuter students. So that is from 9 to 4 in the LSE ballrooms on December 3rd. If you're a freshman and you're looking for a place to live next year, definitely go. If you're not a freshman and you're looking for a place to live next year, go. And go after you march to deliver the loyalty with YDSA, because that's important. Thank you.
Good. I have a couple of announcements. So first of all, we're looking to fill seats on the Legislative Strategic Advisory Board. We have a total of 4 at-large student representatives group seats open right now. To be eligible for that, students cannot be affiliated with any of the 3 branches. Don't refer anyone in here, but feel free to refer your friends and classmates outside of here. The application's open right now, and it's open till midnight and the 24th. I put all the info in the Teams, and it's also in the weekly newsletter. If you need any additional information for that, let me know. And then our other event is Evening with Your Elected Officials. That's going to be December 4th from 6 to 8 p.m. I want to see all of y'all there. RSVP ahead of time also on the weekly email. It's a super great opportunity to talk with any and every elected official you'd like to see regarding some topics that a lot of us are facing today. It's gonna be really good. It's one of my favorite ones and one that a lot of people look forward to when they think about Gov Affairs. I've also posted that one in the Teams. We also posted to our Instagram, so I'd love it if you could repost that and also just share both of these opportunities in your circles, in your classes, and everything. Feel free to let me know if you have any questions.
Cool. Does anyone else from exec wish to report at this time? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and move into judicial reports. Does anyone from judicial wish to report? Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Oh my goodness. This feels so tall. This feels so tall. Oh, just kidding, guys. You'd think I'd understand how to do this considering that I was a senator. Anyway, good evening, everyone. I hope everyone's doing well and very excited for Thanksgiving break or fall break. So sorry, did not mean to call it that. Please don't kiss me, I beg of you. But I'm here to talk to you about Elections Engagement's first event. We're going to be doing a tabling event for 100 days till voting opens outside on the Lower Student Plaza, and it'll be, yeah. And to anyone who's looked at the teams today, you will see that I posted a sign-up sheet already, and basically what you'll be doing is you'll be helping with passing out bagels and passing out flyers, answering any general questions about the event, what it is that we're doing, and what it is that we're promoting. As I said, I've already sent out a Teams with the sign-up sheet, so please sign up if you can and help with this event. I'm just asking for an hour of your time. It will be December 1st, the day we get back from Thanksgiving break. I understand that there are people who are traveling, but if you can commit to just at least an hour, that would be absolutely amazing. And thank you to everyone who has already signed up for this event. And please, if you have any questions, please come find me. As always, follow it at ASHU Elections. Thank you.
Hello. Okay. Good evening, everyone, Madam Speaker, members of the Senate. For the record, my name is Rocio Villalobos, and I serve as the Associate Justice of the ASCSU Supreme Court. I'm going to be giving this week's judicial report. The court has submitted the updated job descriptions of our branch to ensure clarity and consistency across all positions. Additionally, the judicial branch will not be meeting on Friday as per usual, and has been moved to Tuesday at noon over fall break. As always, our door is always open to any questions and conversations. Our office hours are posted on the door. That is the end, and I welcome any questions from Senate. All right, thank you guys.
Okay, with that, we'll now be moving into legislative reports, starting with officers' reports. I have a good couple, there's so much, I'm gonna move to the other podium. I have too much stuff. First and foremost, 2 sessions left in this semester. What that's gonna look like is make sure to submit any legislation that you plan to write over break by Wednesday, November 26th by 6:30. It's the same Wednesday, the week before, 6:30 timeline as always. It's just in break. Additionally, we'll have Media Day, Monday, December 1st, 5 p.m. here in the Senate chambers. So make sure to roll up for that. Additionally, as Jelicity mentioned earlier, LSAP seats are up for appointment and ratification. As is currently constituted, it's of the power of the speaker, but I think that's goofy and I think it should be the power of the Senate. So I'm officially delegating that power to you all at our next session, so December 3rd. If you have any questions on LSAB, feel free to reach out to me, Live, Laugh, Love LSAB, or Jelicity, also Live, Laugh, Love LSAB. Coolio. As for the bylaws, expect them to hit the floor December 3rd. They'll be submitted by the 26th, meaning you all will get an email and a Teams of the proposed bylaws from me over break, so that they pass our first session back from winter break. Website,
couple updates there. The Constitution is now on the website, with some minor things we're still adjusting, shout out. Additionally, the legislative template's on the website, and proud of this one, our membership, it's all updated on the website, and it's pretty. I've never seen that before, which is epic. Last thing, timeline for newsletter. Make sure that all materials that you want to be seen in Senate to be included in the newsletter are sent to me by 6:30 p.m. If you're a presenter, if it's legislation, if it's something you want to like have on the screen and not read all the words for during your report, all that stuff, 6:30 Wednesday, so that it's all at the same time and can be given to legislative cabinet. If there are any other materials that you would like in the weekly newsletter, not for Senate, you just want them in the newsletter, make sure all those materials are sent by 1 p.m. to the front desk so they can send it out by 2 p.m. as per our bylaws. Actual second to last thing, Ellie sent out a Teams message about our resources with the Rocky Mountain News Corporation resources. Make sure to read that over. It's really cool. It's a cool opportunity. You should look at it. Lastly, as I'm sure you're all aware, you should have gotten an email from me. If for whatever reason you didn't get that email from me, reach out to me. I can forward you that email. Thank you. Ellie.
On the wrong page. Hi everyone. Those don't know me, I'm Ellie. I serve as this year's Speaker Pro Tempore. I just have a few event updates. The Trans Day of Remembrance ceremony is tomorrow from 4:30 to 5:30 in Never Know Summer. Please come by and be in community with us as we remember those we've lost. I'd also like to congratulate the graduate students that presented at the symposium today. Additionally, tomorrow from 4 to 6 in the Conservation House is the Warner College International Affairs Committee's Friendsgiving. If you're interested in that, which is awesome, it's a great way to get involved with the international community on campus. Also, if you need anything from me over break, please let me know. And speaking of break, have a great break.
Hey everyone, my name is Giovanni. I go by Gio in case you don't know me. I just thought I'd give you a sort of back-end administrative stuff. I think it's important for you all to know it. I'm excited to say we've brought signatures into the 21st century with DocuSign, which will hopefully really increase the accessibility and the speed to which we get things signed and out. Additionally, we are always perpetually updating the legislative template. If you have a director or a campus official who's sort of fallen through the cracks, like I recently have added Amy Taylor, Senior Director for the Accessibility Center, and Lindsay Sell, the Director of Fraternity and Sorority Life. Please bring those officials to me. We can get those added immediately. If you have ever had any questions about the administrative back end or the parliamentary procedure, I'm always here for you. You can contact me over break, and to steal from my colleague there, have a great break. Thank you.
Diana, do you want to give a report? No, Julio. With that, we'll now be moving into committee and caucus reports by first raised placard. Chair Gray.
Hi friends. Okay, so Accessibility Caucus will be meeting tomorrow's Thursday, 3:30 p.m. in the conference room, and we're gonna review the Accessible Elections Guide, so please join us, because we're gonna have a great time. Yeah, I think that's it.
Julio. Chair McLaughlin.
The Budgetary Committee met yesterday. We endorsed Bill 5522 and discharged it back to the Senate. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice Chair Grenier.
DI did not meet this week, so everything was held in committee, but we will be meeting at the next Monday we have school, which I don't know the date of anymore. December 1st. Thank you very much, Senator Garnett.
Thank you. Are there any other committee or caucus reports at this time? Julio, with that will now be moving into Senator and Associate Senator reports by first raised placard. Kind of a placard. Senator McGraw.
To everyone in the room, I'm currently working on a bill to start a caucus. This caucus will work closely with the task force that will be reviewing the free speech policy and providing suggested edits. It will not meet before break. That is not reasonable. Well, it may meet before break. It will be, or not this break, the other break, the one that's further. But it will be, that bill will be on the floor, hopefully, the week after fall break. And then we will start to move through trying to add those revisions and trying to really like hone in on what students and community members really want to see, if they want to see any changes to the free speech policy here on campus. If you have any questions about that, please let me know. I'm working on that bill as well as bylaws and trying to get everything going so we can just send it. I yield. Thank you.
Thank you. Associate Senator Leary.
Hi everyone, so I just wanted to also add something to the earlier basic needs presentation. So additionally to like the CSU RAM ride, we also have in town Dial-A-Ride, which is a paratransit ride by transport to disabled people. So it's kind of like a for you before disabled people, but there is like a time, there's a bunch of rules basically, but I use it and I will also put the link in the Teams soon. And I'm also on the Dial-A-Ride and Transit Accessibility Committee, and I try to represent us, the students, as much as possible. And that was mostly that part. And then this is kind of further away, but the SDC is kind of having 2 events that are coupled. Doodles and Desserts, come create art with RAM events in the SDC and enjoy free snacks and desserts. So the first one is December 9th, 1 to 4 p.m. until 121, and then December 10th, 12 to 3 p.m., LSC 304/306. And then I highly encourage you to come to T-Door tomorrow, Transit Visibility, and then also the game night after that. I yield.
Thank you. Chairman Nancy.
Well, Senator Leary just hit a lot of what I was going to say. So I will yield to redundancy, other than the fact that I'll be working on legislation over this break, and I might have a change in name. All right, bye.
No?
Seconded. Officer Diggs.
Hello, everyone. BAC will be hosting Meet Your Mentors. So it's a Meet the Mentors, people who work in BAC, the peer mentors and coordinators. And that is going to be on the 26th. Time is TBD. Stay tuned for that. Thank you. I yield.
Thank you. Are there any other senator or associate senator votes at this time? Seeing none, we are now entering confidence business with 2 hours on the clock, starting with judicial ratification, starting with the ratification of election committee.
I'd like to make a motion to put the voting and non-voting members being ratified on a slate. Thank you.
Can people of different positions be put on the slate?
To combine the next 2 items on the agenda into one item.
There officially matters of the committee.
Hayden, would it be wrong to do that? Lock in.
Yeah, looking at that now. What the bylaw says, when there were multiple candidates running for a position or seeking to be ratified, then they may be put on a slate. I think technically, since voting and non-voting members would be 2 different positions, I would say no, but that's just my interpretation. The chair will make that decision.
That was my instinct, and I do think they have different rules, so we're gonna do them separately, and I'm not gonna entertain that motion. So starting with.
I motion to put the voting members on the slate.
Yeah, cute, cool. Awesome, starting. You got it. We'll now be starting the ratification of the elections committee voting members. You have 10 minutes to present.
All right, hi everyone. For those who I haven't met, my name is Emily. I'm serving as the elections manager this year. I'm super honored to be presenting the individuals that we have selected for the elections committee this year. To give a little background, this committee was interviewed by a combination of myself, Chief Justice Melanie Brusso, Deputy Chief Justice Caitlin Brennan, Associate Justice Sarah Quiros, as well as Gracie Wilson, Sydney Wong, and Sophia Sanchez, as well as Ryan Terry from the front desk over about a week and a half. We had 17 candidates, interviewed 13. All candidates were scored on a rubric. We've selected 9, I'm presenting 8 tonight. And then we are actively hiring for the final 1 to 3 seats over the coming 2 weeks. I'm going to introduce members now before we go into Q&A, so if each of you could raise your hand as we go down the line. It's not in line order, I'm so sorry, I'm not like that. That'll allow Senate to know who we're talking about. First up is Lauren Davis for the 3rd time tonight. She's a junior studying political science with a minor in English, legal studies, and leadership. Lauren was the vice chair of the elections committee last year and currently serves as the director of basic needs for ASCSU. She also works with the SAFE Center and serves on SFRB. We have Emma Shaw, who is a sophomore studying political science with a concentration in U.S. government law and policy and a minor in legal studies. She's also a member of Kappa Kappa Gamma and Phi Alpha Delta. Karis Blackman is a sophomore studying political science with an environmental policy concentration and a minor in global environmental sustainability. She also works with CSU Zero Waste and in a local elementary school. Josiah Avila is a freshman studying political science and agricultural biology with a minor in legal studies and Spanish. He is also involved in the pre-law club at CSU and is on the pre-law track. Noah Eddington is a freshman studying psychology and legal studies. They currently serve as the senator for Adult Learners and Veteran Services and are involved in Camp Cares and the Pride Leadership Collective. Lucas Slotemaker is a freshman studying political science with a legal studies minor. He's an officer for Kappa Alpha Phi and is involved in CSU's pre-law club. Mallory Eisenrich is a senior studying watershed science and sustainability with a minor in environmental and natural resource economics. She's a member of the CSU Marching Band, Rampage Basketball Band, and is involved in the Patchwork Project and the Student Sustainability Center. And finally, we have Ben Kamba, who's a freshman studying management and innovation. She's a member of the Residential Leadership Program, Minds Matter, Inroads College Links, and the Southeast Regional Council. Very accomplished committee, super excited about all of them, and I will turn it over to Q&A for these candidates.
Cool, and with that, we'll now be entering a period of Q&A by first raised placard. Senator Singleton.
I'm just curious, what was the criteria on the scoring for the rubric that you said?
Yeah, so each interviewer was given a score from 1 to 10 on their response based on accuracy, completeness, and just kind of if we thought it would be a valuable asset to our committee.
Cool, thank you, I yield.
Thank you. Chairman Lanti.
Hi, y'all. I have full faith in the court and various folks who interviewed it. It's still gonna grill y'all. So, first question, were y'all interviewed about how you would maintain impartiality for elections committee and recuse yourself in event of bias and manage all of that? Love the jazz.
I would suggest the elections manager can answer that question, and if you all agree, not.
I would say yes.
Yeah.
Very much so, in fact.
That was the big question, that was the one we questioned. You know what I mean. Work-life balance, are you gonna maintain that with this lovely commitment as well as like the school and other commitments?
I would argue that that was asked as well.
Yes. I gotta remember not interview questions. It's a great chair. And finally, I think actually that question can be held off, so I will motion the previous question.
Second. Is there any dissent? Hearing none, we're gonna enter a period of voting. If y'all could take a step outside.
Not voting.
Discussion.
That's, yeah.
JK, we're not entering voting, we're entering discussion debate because that's how things work. With that, we're gonna enter a period of discussion debate by first raised placard. Chairman Lanti.
Alrighty, so obviously someone else is on the speakers list. Okay, and I've gotten go ahead. I'm going to motion the previous question.
Is there any dissent? Hearing none, we're now
now gonna enter a period of voting. Chair Monty.
Motion to be done with unanimous consent.
Is there any dissent to the ratification of these candidates? Hearing none, these candidates are now ratified. Hold on, hold on.
Can I motion to have us swear in all of the potential ratifications at once after they've all been approved by the Senate? So you don't have to read it 3 times?
That's weird, but sure, I'll look into it later. Is there any dissent to that motion? Okay, I'll see y'all in a second. With that, we'll now be moving into the ratification of Elections Committee non-voting officials.
Singular, one.
You know them and you love them. I'm thrilled to introduce our non-voting member of the committee. For those who don't know, per the Constitution, the committee can appoint non-voting officers to support our operations. I'm thrilled to introduce Giovanni Falbo for this role. Gio was in this capacity on the committee last year, and his contributions were invaluable to our team. He also currently serves as the parliamentarian and is additionally involved in Model UN and the National Association of Parliamentarians, and he was interviewed through the same process.
Thank you. With that, we'll now be entering a period of Q&A by first raised placard. Chairman Alty.
Was Gio interviewed through the same process? I didn't quite hear that.
Sure was.
All right, then I motion the previous question.
Is there any dissent? Hearing none, if you could take a step outside. We'll now be entering a period of discussion debate by first raised placard, but also secretly Chair Gray, because I keep accidentally ignoring you. Chair Gray.
We're good. Yeah, cool. They're great. Well, that's it. Motion previous question.
Is there any dissent? Hearing none, we'll move into a period of voting. Initially, Chairman Alty.
Motion to approve this candidate with unanimous consent.
Is there any dissent to the ratification of this candidate? Hearing none, yay Gio. Bring Gio back in. Oh, they're dancing as a point of clarification for everyone. And if the voting members also.
Lauren Davis again.
I'm gonna keep coming up. All right, we're gonna do the same thing. We don't have a microphone, so get as close to this one as you can. I state your name.
I, Giovanni Falbo,
Do solemnly swear.
do solemnly swear
To defend and uphold.
to defend and uphold
The rules and regulations.
the rules and regulations
Set forth by the Constitution.
set forth by the Constitution
Of the Associated Students of Colorado State University.
of the Associated Students of Colorado State University,
And will rightfully perform.
and will rightfully perform
The duties of my office.
the duties of my office
To the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations on your ratification.
Easy job.
Thank you. With that, we'll be moving into executive ratifications. The athletic partnerships intern, Andrew Knopper. I'm sure I'll notice it.
Hello, familiar faces. Okay, so for those who don't know me, I am the executive assistant intern for Chief of Operations Andrew and the President Jakai. With that, I'm just going to give like a small mini introduction of who Andrew Knopfert is. Yes, we do have 2 Andrews in the office. Yes, it is very confusing sometimes. But Andrew is absolutely amazing. He's been with us for about 2 weeks. Yeah, he's been with us for so far 2 weeks, and he's been so amazing. He's been very enthusiastic with the duties he already has. And quite frankly, I've had a one-on-one with him, and it's been going good so far. He's very excited for the job, and he just loves learning about what ACSU does, and he cannot wait to contribute. So I'm just going to hand over the mic to him.
Hi everyone, I'm Andrew Notberg. I am a freshman here at CSU. I'm studying journalism, media, and communications. I'm really excited to get started in this position. I've had a lot of fun so far. I'm also a member of the golf team, and I am the travel and safety officer. So yeah, I'm from Kansas City. I love music, sports, all of that. So pleasure to meet all of you and hopefully work with all of you guys.
Clearly, with that, we'll be entering a period of Q&A by first raised placard. Chairman Alty.
Anyone else on that list?
Just you.
Motion for this question.
Is there any dissent? Hearing none, if you could take a step outside. We will now be entering a period of discussion debate by first raised placard after I finish speaking. Senator Singleton.
A motion for previous question. Second.
Is there any dissent? Hearing none, we're going to enter a period of voting. Initially, it would be secret ballot. Senator Vega.
I motion to approve this candidate with unanimous consent.
Is there any dissent to the ratification of this candidate? Hearing none, this candidate is now ratified. 1 second, left us a minute.
I state your name.
I, Andrew Notberg,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
to defend and uphold
to defend and uphold
the rules and regulations
the rules and regulations
set forth by the Constitution
set forth by the Constitution
of the Associated Students of Colorado State University
of the Associated Students of Colorado State University
and will rightfully perform
and will rightfully perform
the duties of my office
the duties of my office
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations on your application.
Thank you with that. We'll now be entering old business, so.
We'll start old business with Lex 5521, editing the elections timeline. This was pulled from committee, correct? So with that, we will move into a 10-minute period of discussion and debate with the first read placard. Senator Taylor.
Yeah, I think this is a good piece of legislation, and this is gonna be going back to committees, is it not? Yeah, so this is going back to committees, and so I think that we can save most discussion until next week, so I motion to previous question.
Is there any dissent? Hearing none, this will be sent to DEI. Thank you.
Point of clarification / correction, we have to vote on whether or not this continues as a piece of legislation because it's all in its second reading.
Okay, well, is there any dissent to this legislation moving on? It'll be sent to DEI.
When you open the
Zoom in on it. Yeah.
Thanks. Thank you, everyone. Now we'll be moving into new business, starting with Lex 5526, Intra-University Department Inclusion Lex. Does anyone have eyes on Haven?
Lex 5526, Intra-University Department Involvement Lex. This Lex aims to revise Articles 2 and 5 of the ASCSU Constitution to clearly distinguish the intra-university department from the colleges and outline the rights of its department. You have 10 minutes.
Hi y'all, so the abstract pretty much sums it up. Really, all I'm doing in this Lex is going through and making some pretty minor edits to the Constitution in order to allow for my department to be included more broadly. So before, really just a few weeks ago, I was under the impression that my role was Senator of Exploratory Studies. This is not the case. I am the senator for the intra-university department, which has a ton of different mini departments that fall under it. So the main thing I'm trying to get at is a section of Article 2 that reads, these senators must be members of the respective body that they represent by the first Senate session of the fall semester. This is not super attainable, especially for people who are a part of exploratory studies, which makes up 62% of the people who are within this department. And as a result of that, it has been pretty difficult to get people to be representatives of this department. So exploratory studies functions as a undeclared major route. So for the first 2 years that you're here, you can be undeclared, but by the end of your sophomore year, you have to declare a major, which means that you can no longer represent intra-university department by being a part of exploratory. The other programs that we have are a few graduate degree programs, and a few international studies programs like Semester at Sea, which obviously are not a full-time thing. So I'm really just trying to distinguish intra-university from the other colleges because it's not a college. It's kind of a conglomerate of different programs. That's all.
Awesome, thank you. With that, we'll be entering a period of Q&A by First Race Blackguard. I don't know what one was first. Senator Singleton.
Have there been bills in the future that have tried to do the same thing that did not work out, or Alexis, sorry, that did not work out?
Not to my knowledge.
I yield.
Chairman Huntley.
Motion, the previous question. Second.
Is there any dissent? Hearing none, this will be sent to DEI and University Affairs. We'll now be moving into Bill 5527, the 2025-2026 ASCSU Supreme Court job descriptions in all categories.
Hey everyone.
Sorry. Bill 5527, 2025 to 2026 ASCSU Supreme Court job descriptions. This bill aims to establish updated and revised job descriptions for the judicial branch, specifically covering the Associate Justices, the Deputy Chief Justice, and the Chief Justice. You have 10 minutes.
Sorry about that. Hi everyone, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Caitlin Brennan. I serve as the Deputy Chief Justice for the Supreme Court. As the abstract states, this bill is pretty simple. We just went through and updated all of our job descriptions to kind of fit what we're looking to do this year. Mostly it just fixes formatting errors and makes it a little bit clearer to read through, kind of breaks it into different sections of what our responsibilities are. I did personally look at the job description, all three of the job descriptions, and I'm pretty confident that Melanie and I have done a good job of making sure that our responsibilities are accurately reflected in these descriptions. So if you have any questions,
feel free to ask, but you can also read the bill as it is.
Cool. With that, we'll be now entering period of Q&A by first raised placard. Chairman Opti.
Any other questions? Motion in the previous question.
Is there any dissent? Hearing none, this will be sent to Internal Affairs. Thank you. We'll now be moving into Bill 5528, funding sexual health and safety kits for students over university absences. Pause for abstract.
Bill 5528, funding sexual health and safety kits for students over university absences. This bill aims to fund sexual health kits to be assembled and distributed to students before university absences through the Women and Social Justice Caucus. Okay, you have 2 minutes.
So, hello everyone. My name is Miriam, if we haven't met, but I believe I've met most of y'all. I'm the chair for the Women and Social Justice Caucus. I am very excited about this. This was an initiative that was started last year by our former chair, and I just really wanted to continue this service that we offer to students because of how important it is. Around 34% of Colorado State students are out of state, including myself, not to mention international students. And when they leave for university absences, their access to resources that are very easy to access on campus goes away as well. So we have precedent from last session. We did have a few issues, but I have a plan to solve them. The first one is having a contingency plan. So, if you'll notice, well, we'll get into this a little bit later, I'm asking for a little bit more money than the bill that was passed last session. And that is mostly as a contingency plan, just in case the resources that were utilized last year, like the free Plan B and the discounted sexual health items, we are unable to access. We'll have the money without having to pass additional legislation to go ahead and fund them anyway, so there's not any delays. And the second thing that was kind of an issue was assembly and distribution. I plan to solve that with volunteer days and tabling days. So my volunteer days will be the week after Thanksgiving break. The first one will be during my caucus time from 1 to 2 p.m. on Thursdays. And then we'll do a Wednesday, December 3rd volunteer day from 4 to 6 p.m. And then, so if you want to scroll to the price, our little table. This is her. Sorry, not to gender this, but so I have laid out the sexual health kit items that will be in the kits and then the bags as well. The quantity needed, the price breakdown, I got these off of Amazon. Again, hopefully we shouldn't have to pay for Plan B, which is obviously the bulk of my bill. And hopefully it might be a little bit cheaper for condoms, we'll see. But anyway, so the amounts, the quantities that they come in, the number of items of the quantities, and then the total cost, and then the cost per item, and then down here is per bag. And then if you'll continue scrolling just a little bit, I just want to point out this whereas clause of students who receive these kits will save around $30 and potential for much more. Yes, in addition to access. So the two things that this is trying to address are access and cost. So yeah, that's all I have. I am planning on making a few edits, if that's okay.
To make edits, you would need to first expedite the legislation. Is that what your intention is? I would entertain a motion to expedite this piece of legislation. Chairman Alti.
I'd like to motion to expedite this piece of legislation.
Is there any dissent to this motion?
Point of
Oh, yeah,
clarification, I think.
it's money.
Does this have written approval from Sophie and Farah?
Yes, it does.
And then can you just briefly
Yes.
provide a reason for expedition? Because just personally, as the funding person, I'd like to make it clear that this shouldn't be a precedent we're moving forward with unless there's a good reason for it.
Absolutely. So the reason that this is getting expedited is just because I want to ensure ample time for these items to come in before university, before winter break specifically. So ideally, once this, or if this passes, I will order the items as soon as possible for them to be delivered over fall break, and then we can begin assembly hopefully the week after, and then distribute the week after, or the end of that week, continue that week. And I can yield to Olivia.
Also, just to add some clarification, last year, one of the biggest issues that we ran into was items took longer than expected to come in. And so therefore, everything got pushed back to a detrimental effect. So there is ample cause for this. I yield back to Chair Hill.
With that point of clarification made and the motion additionally made, is there any dissent to the, actually this is kind of controversial, not actual, I don't. We're gonna do this by voice vote. All those in favor of expediting this piece of legislation, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Any abstentions? Not that controversial, my bad. With that, this piece of legislation is now expedited. In order to make edits to the legislation, it would require us to enter dissolve into committee of the whole. Senator Frisky.
I motion to dissolve into committee of the whole.
Second.
Is there any dissent? Hearing none, welcome to committee of the whole. We're gonna go ahead and start with Chair Hill's edits to her legislation, and then we'll open up the floor.
So my first edit is, do I have to list them out, every single one? Or can I just, or, like, what's the best process for you?
Ideally, reading them out for
Okay.
accessibility purposes.
Perfect, yeah, sounds good. The first edit that I wanna make is adding Olivia Frisky as a collaborator. Yes, or.
What's happening?
To clarify the question from the parliamentarian of what's happening, you're presenting your edits right now? Cool. So we're gonna go through all of Miriam's edits and then go through the speaker's list, starting with Turner Laughlin, in case anyone's lost.
Cool, okay. I was lost, thank you. Yeah, so that's the first edit, and then secondly is in whereas 2. Oh wait, actually, that's perfect, yeah, that works. And then in the actual like table, yes.
Since the edit is not obvious, do like the highlighting and all that, can you clarify what
Oh,
the
yes.
whereas edit is?
This is just adding a little bit more background. So I believe I added just this sentence after cost or access right here. Just to clarify, like, the reason behind this legislation, again, it is because for many out-of-state students, there is more restriction. And it's not just for out-of-state students either. Like, the second we step off campus, we do lose access to resources as a collective. So it's really for anyone involved, but I just wanted to clarify that as background for the legislation. And then, yeah, then the next edits are just in this table. I didn't put like that, and so I edited that. And then I guess you could put like 500 like times 1 if you want, but just to be concise, but I added a few of those. And then this is the biggest edit, is I added $50 into the amount of money I'm asking for, which I know is controversial, just because I wanted to make sure that I had a big enough buffer for shipping costs, because I had like a $20 buffer, and then I also added a contingency clause, is that what it's called? I don't know. Right there, the extra funds will be returned to the discretionary fund. And then I edited the forwarding clause to include just to update, I'm trying to remember who specifically was included. You can look into that, but I just updated it and added the more recent names. Sorry, yes, that's the end of my edits.
Julio, does anyone have any questions on any of Miriam's edits? Senator Taylor.
Why is the sunset clause on July 1st of 2026?
I don't know. I just found that from legislation in the past, so if you have a better date.
Clarification, the fiscal year for Colorado State University ends on June 30th and the new fiscal year starts on July 1st. So for, I guess, best practices, unless there's a specific date in mind, I have encouraged people to put the end of the fiscal year as their sunset date, as it helps with budgeting.
Should I change it to June 30th then?
What I was going to propose is maybe having that be January 1st of 2026, since the funding, since you're allocating, I think, more funding than you anticipate spending, that way that we would have that come back. I guess I will make the motion to do that because this is committee of the whole.
Yeah, for sure, that works for me.
Is there any dissent to Senator Taylor's motion? Julio.
Thank you, I yield.
Julio. With that, speakers list time, Chairman McLaughlin.
I'll yield to redundancy.
Julio. Senator Fiske.
Oh no. Oh no, what was I gonna say? Is there anything you want me to add context to or anything like that?
It's up to you.
We're also gonna enter discussion debate in just a second.
Okay. Hopefully I remember by then. I'm just gonna yield.
Okay, Director Davis.
I have a question and a couple edits. If you said you got all this from Amazon?
Yes.
This is a question for the chair or Brooke, if there's a different place to get it from and then it becomes cheaper, is that still cool within the returning funds to the unspent funds? Does that make sense?
That was kind of the plan.
What do you mean by that?
Like if Amazon priced it at a certain price and then there's a different place where you can get something that's cheaper or a different place that's cheaper, is that still cool to be returned later? Because she has $1,347.
Do you mean if the table is no longer
The
accurate?
table is not
Yeah.
in the therefore clauses, it's not binding.
Okay, so it's cool one.
Yes.
Okay, cool. If then I gave you a couple contacts for emergency contraceptives and bags, would you be able to take those?
I currently have Charlotte Durkin.
Yes.
Okay. Do you have another one for me?
I was gonna give you Charlotte and then I was also gonna have Charlotte give me people.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, that works, Charlotte's great. And then, do you have the director of the Safe Senate on the forwarding clause?
Yes, I
Okay,
believe so.
I shouldn't see it. That's everything. I yield.
Thank you, Director Davis. Associate Senator Berry.
So if the funding is getting returned after winter break, since we changed that, or during winter break, because.
Yeah.
During technical.
Yeah, but is this looking to also address summer break, or will you write a different? Yeah, I yield.
The plan was to write a different piece of legislation, if that is something that the committee or the caucus deems important for summer break, so it won't be applicable.
Just change the title to winter access.
You.
Winter, okay.
I did yield.
Yeah.
Julio. Senator Garland.
For the condoms you intend to purchase, will any of them be latex free, do you know?
I wasn't planning on it, but if that is a concern of yours, I'm happy to do some latex-free kits.
It's small concern, more just for people with latex allergy. I know a couple people, so just to make that accessible for them.
For sure, yeah, we can totally do that.
Coolio, Chair Quesada Stoner. I was just wondering if we can, I would like to motion to endorse this bill. I don't know if you wanna, is there a list going on? There are your paper, if you don't make it on the paper, email Gio can add it afterwards. Thank you, that was it, I yield. Good, Senator Jones.
Can we go down a little bit on the table, please? On the pamphlet where you put X1, can we change that to be formatted the same as the other ones, as one X in the front? I'm sorry, it just bothered me a little bit. But yeah, I yield my time.
Yeah, Senator Taylor.
I motion to rise out of the committee of the whole.
There's one other person.
I'll yield to you.
I just wanted to say this really quick before we go out of committee of the whole, in case this wants to be added in or changed at all. But we are, so last year, we got a lot of Plan Bs through a connection through the Safe Center, Charlotte, as was mentioned before. And basically they're Plan Bs that are pulled off the shelf because they're gonna expire within like a year. And so they're still completely fine to use. However, it's just, that's where we got them from for free. So that's part of the reason for the contingency, is if we are able to get some for free. Also looking into condoms from crews, depending on how much they can provide. And that can also speak to like the latex-free options. So those are all the part of that contingency. I don't know if anyone wants that in specific writing in this bill. Baller. Then I will yield back to Senator Taylor. Senator Taylor, could you potentially also yield to me?
Yes.
Just to clarify, as for the language listed in the therefores, is it reflected that this is like essentially a discretionary type thing with the specific like intention of what it's being spent on? It's not like specific. My concern is that there's a lot of discussion about the technicalities of sourcing and everything, and if the legislation reflects, hey, give Women in Social Justice Caucus this money for them to figure out, that's good. But if it's have Women in Social Justice Caucus do the specific thing, blah, 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 that's not as good. Coolio, awesome, double checking. Senator Taylor.
I yield to the author.
Thank you. I just have one more quick edit. Instead of university absences, can we say like winter break?
University winter absences.
Yeah, that sounds great. Let's do that.
She's the author.
Do you yield back to Senator Taylor?
Yes, sorry, I yield.
So help me. I move to rise out of the committee of the whole.
Is there any dissent to moving out of committee of the whole? Okay. Hearing dissent, we'll go ahead and do this by voice vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. The ayes have it, to my understanding. And with that, we are now out of committee of the whole. I fear with it being division, you'd then have to overrule me.
If division is called, that would just automatically be a black vote.
But I already made my call. Division was called afterward.
I said division before you did, he can attest to that. Wasn't loud enough.
I don't care. Division, We can count, we can stay here longer. I'm so sorry, Jared specifically. With that, all of those in favor, please raise your placards. Writing this in my transition report.
14, 15, 16.
Is this 16?
18. Wait, Victoria, is yours up or is that just? Okay, yeah.
Raise them high. Okay, you can go ahead and put those down. All those opposed? I'm going to crash out. Any abstentions?
4, 5.
With a vote of 17 to 2 to 5, we are out of committee of the whole, and we will now be entering a period of discussion and debate on this legislation. By first year's placard after I'm done speaking. Chairman Alty,
Motion to the previous question.
is there any dissent? Hearing dissent? We will vote on this by voice. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say nay. Nay. Any abstentions? The ayes have it. We'll now be entering a period of voting. Chairman Alty,
We want this all to pass. I vote we vote by unanimous consent.
do you need motions?
Motion to unanimous consent.
Is there any dissent to the passage of this legislation? Hearing none? Congratulations, Marion. We'll now be moving into ending roll call. Chairman Alty,
Motion to use beginning roll call as ending roll call, and then anyone who was late joined in.
is there any dissent? Hearing none? Never heard any? We adjourn.
I apologize for the lateness, but just wanted to let you know. Or whatever.
No, I didn't vote for